The playoffs are here, and we begin at the oldest speedway in NASCAR, Darlington Raceway, today for the running of the Mountain Dew Southern 500. Friday night at Daytona, unfortunately, we crashed out for our fifth DNF of the year. Jeff Gordon locked up the regular season championship, and the 16-man chase for the championship has been set. What a way for Dylan Murray to open up the playoffs today with a pole start this afternoon. Last time we were out at Darlington, it was a Thursday night race earlier this year. And Matt Kenseth dominated that event pretty heavily in a race that saw quite a few cautions. So today, we have 16 men fighting for the championship. The furthest of any of the 16 chasers, furthest back, looks like Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s, or Kurt Busch starts 38th today at the furthest of our 16 chase contenders for the championship. The round of 16 kicks off right now.
MRN is here at the Great Southern Tradition, the annual Southern 500 here at the Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. Well, I've heard it all week. The track too tough to tame. What's that all about, Barney?
Well, this is an egg-shaped track with different links and different bankings in the east and west turns. That makes it very tough for the drivers. But the question is, why is it egg-shaped? Well, when it was built, the landowner decided he didn't want his mill farm disturbed, so they simply pinched in the corners of what is now turns 3 and 4 to give it the distinctive egg shape that it's now famous for.
The 64 car didn't look very good last week. He finished towards the back of the pack after that great win 2 weeks ago.
What a slap in the face that must be. 1 week you're king, the next week is like a bad dream. That's the way it goes sometimes in NASCAR Winston Cup racing.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has had an amazing string of qualifying runs this year.
Oh yeah, and that makes it so much easier on race day also. When there isn't much traffic, it makes your race a lot less stressful as a driver.
Brett Bodine is a rarity on the NASCAR circuit these days as the last of the owner drivers.
That really is a lot for one man in these days of multi-car teams which can share information.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
And here's the starting lineup.
In the front row are the 64 car and the Home Depot Chevrolet. In the second row are the Pfizer Ford and the Autel Dodge. Starting the race from row 3 are the Sterling Marlin Dodge and the Tide Pontiac. The fourth row has the M&M's Ford and the GM Goodrich Chevrolet. Starting the race from row 5 will be the DeWalt Power Tools Ford and the 48 car. In row 6, we have the Interstate Battery Chevrolet and the U.S. Army Pontiac. Starting from row 7 will be the UPS Ford and the Valvoline Pontiac. In the 8th row are the Motorcraft Ford and the Team Rusty Dodge. Jeff Gordon, the NASCAR Winston Cup points leader, will start towards the front. Starting in row 10 will be the Dodge dealer UAW Dodge and the Citgo Ford. In row 11 are the Dodge dealer UAW Dodge and the Granger Ford. row 12 are the Singular Wireless Chevrolet and the Haviland Dodge. Row 13 finds the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet and the UAW Delphi Chevrolet. The 14th row has the Dale Jr. Chevrolet and the Cheerios Dodge. In row 15 are the America Online Chevrolet and the Hooters Ford. Starting the race from row 16 are the Band Racing Dodge and the 57 car. Row 17 has the Pennzoil Chevrolet and the Georgia Pacific Dodge. Starting in row 18 will be the Kellogg Chevrolet and the Stacker 2 Dodge. In row 19 are the Net Zero Pontiac and the Rubbermaid Sharpie Ford. In row 20 are the O2 car and the David Green Pontiac. Back in row 21, we have the Target Dodge and the Kodak Max Film Pontiac. And rounding out the field is the 46 car.
91 laps at the Lady in Black. 91 laps of dancing with probably the coldest woman anybody in this field will ever meet. We got 5 playoff drivers starting the top 5. 4 drivers have no wins this year. Obviously, those 4 being, as we go through again. So we have 4 drivers starting inside, chase drivers starting inside the top 5. You got half of them inside the top 10. As we look through the rest of the field, Thursday winner Matt Kenseth starting inside the top 10, as you saw. So Harvick and Labonte both are in the playoffs. Marlin unfortunately got knocked out after last Friday. So if you're not any of the 16 drivers, you're basically racing for 2004 today. 2004 starts today if you're not a chase driver. Pace car is off. Dylan Murway and Tony Stewart are getting ready to kick off the playoffs here at Darlington. Great start for Mark Martin, though. And he is aiming for that 64. He just put the bumper to him. He tried putting the bumper to him off, too. Luckily, Dylan was able to save that car. It was a talked-about rivalry. You could see the stress of this elimination-style format could get to a lot of these drivers. But out of turn 4, Dylan Murway will lead the first lap. Mark Martin, Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman, Sterling Marlin, the top 5. Dylan ahead of fast car in the Thursday event, but unfortunately, cautions relegated him to a 25th place performance that night. Yeah, man, Mark Martin was getting real aggressive with Dylan. He had a nose on that quarter panel and almost turned him. Luckily, Dylan Murray was able to break away from Mark Martin just a little bit as they head down towards turn 3. Tony Stewart, Ryan Newman fighting for the 4th position. And Martin closing up back to the bumper of the 6. Kevin Harvick under attack by Kenseth for the 5th position while trying to go after the Tony Stewart for 4th. And Dylan went wide. Here comes Newman to the point. And it looks like Newman will lead this lap. Dylan getting tight. Kevin Harvick was able to slide into the 3rd position. He's been having a lot of strong runs as of late. Unfortunately, getting into a bit of a shoving match with Rusty Wallace didn't help issues at the Daytona Roval late. He was running fourth when Harvick got kicked into the dirt late in that event. Ended up coming back to finishing 10th. Finished 10th. Mark Martin was able to fall to fourth. Bill Murray staying glued to the back bumper of Newman. Six laps complete in the Mountain Dew Southern 500. Ryan Newman has led the last four. Dylan Murray led the first three. Keep in mind, Ryan Newman is very hard to pass. Oh, Dylan gets the wall pretty hard. Luckily, he's able to get out of it. Ryan Newman got into the playoffs with a victory at Michigan in that fuel mileage race back in June. Race that basically ran wire to wire all the way, with several drivers having to pit late, and Dylan Murray, who led the most laps that day, coming back to finish fifth. Ryan Newman was the car that won in a fuel mileage finish. Seems like if you're a Roger Penske car this season, you're most likely going to win in a fuel mileage battle. So top five seems pretty unchanged. Mark Martin has really fallen backwards quite a bit on this initial run. Ryan Newman and Dylan Murray have all but checked out on the field. Remember, Dylan Murray and Ryan Newman were in a crash last week, a few weeks ago, back at the second Watkins Glen race that took multiple drivers out and basically shot any hope of a guy like Terry Labonte getting into the playoffs in the foot.
He's willing to work with you as long as you stay out his way.
Newman, and so top five: Dylan Murray, Ryan Newman, Kevin Harvick. Looks like Matt Kenseth is taking fifth from Stewart. He is a fast hot rod from being a contender Thursday night in the spring race, the Thursday night race here. Oh, Dylan smacks the wall. Now Bobby Labonte has made his way into the top five. He got in just by a scant 2 points. In last Friday night's race at Daytona. So he's looking to get himself his first win of the year. You can look for the 18 to be strong today. He does have some wins here at Darlington. He won the Pepsi Southern 500 back in 2000. And he had another race that was shortened by weather. See Ryan Newman coming off of 4. Dylan Murray being glued to the back bumper of the 12. Both Newman and Murray have all but checked out at this point. They barely see Kevin Harvick in the mirror. He's in third. He's running lap times by himself. He's actually the second fastest car on the racetrack as of right now. Harvick is behind Dylan Murway. And here comes Dylan. Maybe set up a pass on Newman. Could he get him at the line? No, he might get him in turn one, though. Murway slid the tires a little bit, but he ultimately ends up taking the lead. Murway has the top spot going into 3. And down the back stretch. I'm sorry, what would be the front stretch. I'm sorry. Fun fact, back in 1997, both the front stretch and the back stretch were flipped, very similar to what Phoenix Raceway would later do in 2018 as part of a reconfiguration project. So the back stretch where the grandstands are, the old school grandstands located, that used to be a front stretch. The front stretch where the pit road is used to be the back stretch once upon a time, until both designs were flipped for the 1997 season. Another fun fact, Darlington Raceway is a unique oval design because there's a local minnow pond farmer who has a minnow pond. When this track was built, he allowed the track, but as long as the track design didn't disturb his minnow farm. So turns 1 and 2 are a lot wider than 3 and 4 before this reason. Dylan Murway is all but checked out right now over Ryan Newman, who is currently a little over 2 seconds back now. Harvick is 4 seconds back in third. And then Sterling Marlin and Bobby Labonte are fighting for fourth. So you have a 3-car breakaway. Everybody is running about 2 seconds apart from each other in the top 3. But the rest of the field is fighting for scraps. $20 laps complete, working lap 21 here in the Mountain Dew Southern 500. Dylan Murway has led the opening 3. Ryan Newman took over for a little bit, and Dylan Murway is taking the lead back from Newman and is currently the fastest car on the racetrack as of right now. So you see, as part of Throwback Weekend at Darlington, teams historically throw back to certain legend drivers, old paint schemes, great moments in history, but what about a throwback to your first car? That's what Dylan Murway is running. He is running a throwback paint scheme to his car that he drove in high school every day, which was a 2002 Chevrolet Cavalier with indigo blue metallic. So for this race, he swapped the Man in Black look that he ran most of the year at the day races, except for Indy, for another special paint scheme, which is basically just indigo blue, plain indigo blue, no designs, and he's hoping to put his car in the victory lane today. He looks to have a pretty good shot at doing that. Dylan Murway is open a 5-second gap over Ryan Newman and Kevin Harvick. As Murway is all but checked out. He's already added a few Darlington stripes to his list. Oh, David Green's still mad at Dylan Murway. Doors him, and he's able to put 2 cars a lap down. Jimmy Johnson has become the second fastest car on the racetrack, making his way into the 5th position. He was the fastest that time by 48. Jimmy Johnson won the Pepsi 400 to get into the chase. Keep in mind. So you can look for him to be fast today. He was fast Thursday night, the Thursday night affair. As Murway has put Kevin LePage one lap down. And Murway's using a unconventional line here at Darlington to get by some competition. Comes across the front of the 4. And he's opened up a 7-second lead over the 12 of Ryan Newman in second place. And that lead just continues to grow. Harvick is closing in 8th. He's closed the gap to Newman to 1 second. Dylan Murway has put already a ton of cars a lap down as should be getting close to green flag stops. Very shortly getting close to pit stops here. Probably in the next 3 or 4 laps. As you hear on the radio, Dylan Murway is almost out of fuel. And try to put a couple more cars a lap down. The 23 of Kenny Wallace and the 45 of Kyle Petty. Dylan Murway's got a rocket ship today. He is all but checked out to a full 10-second lead over Ryan Newman. See him working his way through some traffic. And we should be beginning pit stops right about now, sometime in the next few laps. As it looks like, pit this time, man. Pit. This is one of the toughest pit roads in NASCAR, so you're going to see firsthand how tough they are. Murway woes him down. Make sure he gets that speed of 70 miles an hour. And green flag pit stops have begun. Great stop for Dylan Murway as he comes out and just fell a lap down to Ryan Newman on that round of green flag stops. So he should be pretty well stocked for fuel, depending on how far this race can go caution free, as Ryan Newman is your new leader here in the Mountain Dew Southern 500. And with that, Dylan Murway has officially begun green flag pit stops. Does Newman let him go? Does Harvick let him go? We'll see here. Oh, almost a big moment there. Murway almost spun the car out. That would have been huge for him. Murway comes to pit road. Looks like Harvick will let Dylan get his lap back. Coming down the backstretch. David Green and Ashton Lewis to pit road.
Don't let him by, but try not to hold him up either.
28-16.
Good lad.
The 42 car is inside. Got a car leaving pit road ahead.
More cars coming out. Looks like the 30 of Steve Park coming out. At pit road, Kenny Wallace and Casey Mears heading into pit lane.
The leaders are coming in the pit.
Looks like Harvick is coming in this time.
That's the lap time I'm looking for. Keep it up, buddy.
Sorry for the interruption. We are in the middle of green flag pit stops. Sterling Marlin is currently the race leader. Everybody from Tony Stewart on back is a lap down due to pit stops. Guys like Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Rusty Wallace, Earnhardt Jr. I think I saw Kurt Busch back here. And believe it or not, up to this point, all 43 cars are still on track here in the Mountain Dew Southern 500. Sterling Marlin is credited as the race leader. Had a strong car in Friday night's Pepsi 400, but that crash with Mark Martin and Casey Mears and Dylan Murway all jumbled up the order and basically handed the win to Jimmy Johnson due to fuel strategy and several drivers running out of fuel late. And it looks like Dylan will take it over the lead right about here.
Yikes, careful, buddy.
28-45.
Catch up to leader. Keep on it.
Marlo.
Bobby Gordon and Ward Burton have entered the track.
Okay, we're clear.
We have completed 38 laps to this point. And with the pit stops, Jimmy Johnson and Jeff Gordon have made their way into the top 5 somehow. Ryan Newman is still 14 seconds back. We got multiple cars blending in, so with this traffic, this could make for a little bit of an interesting time for Dylan Murway to pick his way through. You got Mark Martin up ahead as a chase driver. He is trying not to fall a lap down. Looks like Jeff Burton, maybe his teammate, is back up there. At least I thought it was Jeff Burton. Looks like it might be either Jeff Burton or Rusty Wallace. Both of those cars are fighting to stay on the lead lap. 42 laps complete in the Mountain Dew Southern 500. We've ran all of them under green. Up to this point, Dylan Roy is enjoying a very comfortable 14-second lead. And it looks like Waltrip is up ahead. He is one of those drivers who got in on points to start the playoffs. Where are we going to get by the 9 of Bill Elliott? Johnny Benson and Mark Martin going at it here, trying to fight to keep themselves on the lead lap. And Benson comes down in front of, behind Martin. There's 3 cars up ahead. There's several of them. 2 of them are chase contenders. We'll see how hard Martin races Dylan.
Number 6 is putting a Still there. Be patient. 28-20.
Wow, you're fast.
Number 10 is still there. You're clear.
Mark Martin, Michael Waltrip, Jeff Green all up ahead.
No outside.
Green thought about taking it. Murway thought about taking it 3 wide off the corner.
Clear on both sides.
Look at that. Mark Martin basically was shoved into turn 3. I think Dylan wants to go. He wants to get through this traffic as much as he can. Got a smoker on the apron. That is Kevin LePage. 3 wide for the lead. Both cars into the wall. Jeff Green and Jeff Green and Mark Martin get into each other. They are still green. Martin was pushed into the wall. And it looks like Elliott Sadler is the next car up ahead to go a lap down.
No outside. 38 car is still there. Number 38 is coming high. Moving all around.
And I think that might have angered Mark Martin being pushed around like that into the fence.
28-31.
Let's listen to what I have to say. Inside, come on, man. Come on. You all right? Oh, that fucker's got it coming. Well, that was interesting. I mean, it's very unusual to see Mark Martin get that colorful on the radio. And usually he's one of the more calmer guys in the garage, but this rivalry between him and Dylan Murway has kind of gotten a little intense, arguably, especially over the summer stretch. And I'm honestly wouldn't be surprised if NASCAR sets both of these two down.
Number 21, top five.
Murway closes in on Rudd, trying to put him a lap down.
28-47.
And he's going to do this here.
The 21 car is looking to
Rudd falls a lap down.
on both sides.
Rudd covered the position on Martin. And Dylan Murway is enjoying a very comfortable 18-second lead over Kevin Harvick. It looks like I think I saw Jeff Gordon move up to third. There, I'm not sure if that is him. But a lot of drivers already a lap down. Junior looks to be the next one up ahead. So Newman has passed Gordon for third. Matt Kenseth still in the top 5 in 5th. Everybody closing in on Junior and try to put him a lap down.
28-35.
Earnhardt Jr. did get into the chase with a win at Richmond and a win on a road course for the first time in his career. He won the Watkins Glen night race.
The 8 car is inside.
They got a big string of cars up ahead, mixing it up.
28-48.
Here's Dale Jr. trying to get by Ashton Lewis. Multiple laps down at this point. The 46.
Still there.
Earnhardt Jr. in the 8. And he falls a lap behind.
All clear, buddy.
Jimmy Johnson and Rusty Wallace have come off onto pit road. Looks like they might be playing some strategy, depending on how things play out. by the looks of this. David Green down on pit road.
Keep it up, great lap.
Dylan Murway trying to get to Dale Jarrett in the 88. He unfortunately did not get into the chase. So he's basically racing to begin 2004 at this point. And it looks like contact. Sterling Marlin and it looks like Tony Stewart. Up ahead. Both of them bounce together off 4. No yellow.
Don't push your fuel too far. Come on in when you're ready.
Here's Murway trying to see how far he can stretch the fuel.
Run slower like that one.
.57 laps complete. We are working lap 58. Dylan Murway has basically led ever since he took the lead from Ryan Newman. He's led basically ever since, except for green flag stops.
That's it. That's the speed we're looking for.
Murway closing in on Tony Stewart up ahead. And the lap car, Jack Sprague, might cause some problems for Tony and Dylan. And things could get even more stressful here because look who's behind him.
Keep an eye on your mirror. He's not too happy. There, boy. Keep it smooth, just like that.
Clear on both sides. No one outside. Clear.
Murway has put Jack Sprague another lap down. Everybody else ahead. So Marlin, Craven, and what looks like the 20 of Tony Stewart all locked down. Tony Stewart is a chase driver. Sterling Marlin is not. Bobby Labonte is a chase driver, but he's probably going to fall a lap down right about here. Quite a bit of contact, too.
Watch your fuel.
Especially with Dylan negotiating his way through all that lap traffic. Mix in with the leaders, which basically, if you're Dylan Murway, is
We don't need a battery.
allowed you to fly by the field. Ahead of Jeff Gordon, it's basically clear racetrack, nothing but clear racetrack. However, getting to that was pretty tough for Dylan Murway, as he is basically in another zip code at this point.
That's a quick one, buddy. Keep it up. We got some more bonus points headed our way. He's one of your friends up there.
Ricky Craven was the real-life winner of the Darlington Spring Race in 2003. He had that amazing battle with Kurt Busch, going for the race win. Obviously, that classic battle went in the way of Craven, which was is to this day the closest finish in recorded history. Looks like Dylan will put Kenseth a lap down, probably Jeff Gordon here if he can get to him.
Still beside you.
And Dylan lets him go
All clear.
and begins the final round of green flag stops. Oh, big mistake here. Coming out of that pit stop, Dylan Murway has just come out of pit lane and barely avoids getting lapped, but a big mistake. We talked about this at Daytona in the lead up to the playoffs. In the lead up, if you're a chase contender, you have to iron out those mistakes because those mistakes can cost you a race. And if you don't perform in the next couple weeks, you're done, basically. You're eliminated from the chase. So Murway's got to basically kick it into overdrive to try to make up all the ground he lost, as Rusty Wallace has become the first chaser to blow a motor. He's on the backstretch going slow. Dylan Murway gets by Jeff Burton. He got in and took advantage of Dale Jarrett's misfortune to get into the playoffs. Roy under Robbie Gordon, under David Green, under Steve Park. Flew by those three cars like it was nothing. We should be seeing pit stops very shortly. Gets by Johnson, gets by Nadu, and is just tearing through that pack. He's already passed 6 cars. And Kurt Busch hits the brakes. Sadler comes to pit road for his final stop. 20 laps to go. A little over 20 to go at this point. There are several drivers on pit road heading to pit road. It was after pit miscue by Dylan Murway. He is on a mission. I think he's not going to take any prisoners at this point because he's hot. And he said this about that pit stop. Well, that was a fucking terrible stop there. Come on, guys. You want to win this goddamn championship? You can't let that shit happen. Come on, guys. What the hell? And it looked like there might have been a gun jam here on Danny's gun. He's going over to check Robbie for Robbie's pit stall for any extra nuts there. Any extra guns that work. Final pit stop. That happens at Bristol. There's going to be heads are going to fucking roll. Here comes Dylan Murway. I'm out here driving my ass off just to make up all that time, just to try to get into the playoffs to not deal with Bristol. So we can't let that shit happen. 10-4. Just focus forward. Focus forward, bud. You're doing fine. Focus forward. Get Bill Elliott and Mark Martin up ahead. They are for position. Dale Jarrett is scored as your rate. Anyways, back to that little interference. Dale Jarrett is scored as your race leader. Looks like Martin has not completed a pit stop yet today. And Dylan will take the lead on out of 4. Ryan Newman comes out of pit road. Nothing but clear track in front of Dylan. Mark Martin is in second. Bill Elliott is sitting in third. If Martin can get to him, he's going to turn him. Look at how far back some of these leaders are. You got Kevin Harvick sitting in third, 23 seconds back because of this pit stop. And depending on how things shake out, Mark Martin probably should be heading down pit road very shortly. There it is. So this basically just hands the lead over to third spot over to Kevin Harvick in a race that has been very dominated, virtually one-sided by Dylan Murway, which you can probably consider this a statement win heading into this chase. The format is, if you win, you're automatically through to the next round. You don't have to worry about points or nothing. You're just having a good day. If you win, you are in. Norway coming off of 4, little squirrely coming to the line. Only 2 cars sit on the lead lap. Dylan Murway and Kevin Harvick. Ryan Newman is the first 1 lap down. When we get to the line, it will be 10 laps of racing left. So this means if a yellow were to come out, everybody who is on the lead lap, so anybody that's not named Dylan Murway or Kevin Harvick at this point, is basically going to have to restart behind the leaders, and their chances of winning are done. Dylan Murway trying to get by Mayfield, putting him a lap down maybe. He'll do just that.
Number 19 is looking to pass. Nothing damage. Keep digging, buddy.
Okay, so right now the lowest of the 4 chasers, the chase contenders. So right now we look through the list. So chase contenders, we have 5 of them in the top 5. You got Bobby Labonte in 7th, Tony Stewart 8th. Earnhardt Jr. after starting 27th, currently running in the 11th position. Great day for him. Jimmy Johnson 12th. Rudd 13th. Waltrip 14th. Burton 15th. Then Martin in 19th. Ward Burton 22nd. Kurt Busch 23rd. Looking through the rest of the line. And it looks like Rusty Wallace is the only car out of the chaser that is out of this race, or playoff driver. So Rusty Wallace, Kurt Busch, Ward Burton, and Mark Martin are the lowest of the 4 chase contenders as of right now. even with half the field, with everybody except for Kevin Harvick being a lap down, there's a lot of points to be made for guys like Harvick and Newman. Newman led 16 laps. Dylan Murray has led 54. As Dylan is basically in full-on cruise control at this point. Eight laps to go. Seven to go at this point. Dylan Murray is all but checked out. He's already packed his bags and he's bringing it up to Richmond next Friday night in a dominating event. The only way anything can happen is if a caution were to come out right now.
27.
That's what I'm talking about. Nice laps.
Number 41 is outside.
Let's try to race a little cleaner.
The 41 car has got a run on you. You're clear.
86 laps complete. Working lap 87.
Just 5 to go.
5 laps to go in the Mountain Dew Southern 500 today. Green flag went up a little after 3 o'clock Eastern. As we're closing in on almost 7 o'clock right now, locally to the track. And if you're Dylan Murray, you were putting on a show and probably going to have a heck of a party later tonight
28, 34.
on this Labor Day weekend.
Swap out.
Murray's put the bumper to Nemechek or McMurray, and he is all but gone. 4 laps of racing to go. Probably the largest margin of victory Dylan Murray is attaining, and probably the biggest way possible, as long as he survives just a couple more laps. I think I saw one car heading his way down pit road. Unclear who it is. Looks like Harvick is being boxed in with a couple lap cars. Murray probably won't get to him. In 3 laps.
Haven't got much longer on that left front tire.
Coming to the line, there will be 2 laps of racing to go. There are a couple cars
You're looking great from where
on pit road.
how's the car feel? 2 more times around.
And Robbie Gordon, see him up there with Nadu and probably his teammate by the looks of it. And you got to admit, racing a 500-mile race caution-free like this is very taxing on equipment and on the drivers. So I think we're going to have a lot of tired people here at the Checkers. As the white flag waves one more time around, sponsored by Credit One Bank. Dylan Murray closing up on Robbie Gordon. He sees Kevin Harvick in his mirror. Up ahead as they make their way through 3 and 4. Kevin Harvick starts his final lap. Dylan Murray is through to the next round with a win today at Darlington. Save that car for Phoenix, bro.
Didn't fly at all at this one.
Well, that's good news for all these race teams because that can mean one thing: no major wrecks.
The 64 car comes away with a win.
All the hard work this week has just paid off for that team. That was an awesome win.
The 64 car seemed to run quite well in this one with the 12 car.
Normally, these guys are so competitive that a driver has to work his tail off for every spot. But when you have some friends out there, you can occasionally catch a break. That can help a bunch because every position and every tenth of a second counts.
And that they do. As Dylan Murray is through to the next round today with a big win here in the Mountain Dew Southern 500. An excellent day for him as he punches his ticket through to the round of 12. So, Dylan Murway wins the Mountain Dew Southern 500. Kevin Harvick finishes second. Everybody from him down is a lap behind. Ryan Newman finishes third. Matt Kenseth fourth. Ricky Craven, great run today for him, finishing fifth. Bobby Labonte sixth. Tony Stewart seventh. Sterling Marlin eighth. Jeff Gordon ninth. And Dale Jarrett rounds out the top 10. No caution flags, 10 lead changes among 3 drivers. Time of race, a little over 44 minutes. Average speed, 166 miles an hour. And the margin of victory, a staggering 27 seconds. So if we're looking at the chase grid, drivers who are below the cut line as of right now, Rusty Wallace in a deep hole heading into Richmond next Friday night. Kurt Busch, Ward Burton, and it looks like Michael Waltrip are on the outside looking in. Waltrip is 2 points back on Martin. So things could get interesting heading to 2 straight short tracks and a string of 4 straight night races. Anyhow, we're heading to Richmond again. So, with that, Dylan Murway punches his ticket into the round of 12. So, Ryan Newman is the highest in on points as of right now. So, look at the rewards for Darlington. Dylan Murway won the pole, led the most laps. Earnhardt Jr. passed the most cars. Kyle Petty had the fastest lap. Dylan Murway was the best rookie, and Sterling Marlin made the best pass of the day. Dylan Murway has virtually won the Rookie of the Year award at this point. 15 poles. 7 wins. Yeah, that's rookie material. Dylan Murway has basically given Chevy a strong hold in the manufacturer championship and the EA Sports lap leaderboard contest. Dylan Murway and Jeff Gordon are the only 2 drivers to lead more than 100 laps this year. In fact, if Dylan keeps this up, he'll probably be leading 1,000 laps. Friday night at 9 o'clock, we're racing at Richmond.